This is Venice Beach, California. This is where it all got started for the Doors. This is where Jim and I met. This is Beatniks. Wonderful little Jewish community over there when we were here. Charles Bukowski was down here. Beat poetry was going on. West Coast jazz came out of here. Venice Beach, California, man. Everything was happening here. These are the Venice canals. They look pretty good, don't they? They may not be the canals in Venice, Italy, but these look pretty good to me. We spent a lot of time down here, had friends down here, dropping acid right here in the Venice canals. This is something I think you're going to like. This is Jim Morrison's self-published first book of poetry, The Lord's Notes on Vision, James Douglas Morrison. Michael McClure told Jim to do this. What Jim wanted to do was get a work of poetry out there, but no one wanted to publish a rock star's poetry, and Jim didn't want to be known as a rock star anyway. He wanted to be a poet. So this is what he did. McClure said, publish it yourself, man. And he put this beautiful little thing together. Look at this. See, it's this binder, and it's got all of these poems in here. It's got, each one is on an individual piece of paper. Let me read a couple to you. This is about film. This is what the Doors were all about. The Doors were all about movies and film and, you know, making music that was like a soundtrack for a movie in your mind. Jim says, today the doors of all projection booths are made of steel. Does the theater keep out light, or does it keep in darkness? Let me read you another one. Cinema returns us to anima, religion of matter, which gives each thing its special divinity and sees gods in all things and beings. Cinema, air of alchemy, last of an erotic science. Ooh. Cinema, air of alchemy, last of an erotic science. God, this is good stuff. Jesus, Jim, don't drink. So here we are. This is the very spot. Just down from Fraser. We lived up on Fraser. We'll show you that. I came walking straight down Fraser, sat down here on the beach, middle of July 1965. Jim and I had both graduated from UCLA in late May 1965. I got my master's degree. He got his bachelor's degree. I thought he was going off to New York City. I thought I'd never see him again. There I am sitting on the beach, not knowing what I'm going to do with myself. So walking down the beach is none other than James Douglas Morrison. And I said, hey, Jim, come on over here, man. I didn't even recognize him at first because he was just, you know, he was hard and lean. He had lost, I don't know, 25, 30 pounds. You know, not as if he was fat or anything at school, but he was a little soft, you know. He wasn't necessarily a weightlifter. But man, when I saw him on the beach, he had little cutoffs on. He was like 135 pounds, 6 feet tall. God, is that Jim? And sure enough, come on over, man. He sat down. I said, what are you up to? And he said, well, tell you the truth, I've been writing some songs. And I said, whoa. He said, I'm up on Dennis Jacobs' rooftop, looking out over the ocean at Venice Beach and writing songs. And I said, well, for God's sake, man, sing me a song. Sat down right here. And let me show you what he did. This is kind of fun. Dug his hands in, you know, like this. And the sand was just kind of pouring out, you know, sort of like that. And he kind of gritted his teeth and dug into it. And he said, this one's called Moonlight Drive. And he started to sing those words, and it was haunted, you know. It was like, let's swim to the moon. Let's climb through the tide, penetrate the evening that the city sleeps to hide. And I thought, wow, very cool stuff, very cool. Let's swim out tonight, love, it's our turn to try. Parked beside the ocean on a moonlight drive. And it was at that point, you know, sitting here with the sand coming out of Morrison's fingers like this, you know, just draining out. And I said, you know what, man, we got to get a band together. That's what we've got to do. We got to get a rock and roll band together. And he said, Ray, that's exactly what I want to do. And I said, well, you know what? Perfect. Perfect, Jim. And I said, you're going to come home and live with me and live with Dorothy. I mean, we got room right up on Fraser. I said, there's only one problem. What do we call the band? And he said, The Doors. And I said, The Doors? That's like the stupidest name I've ever... Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute, time out, man. You mean like the doors of perception? Like opening the doors in your mind? And he said, yeah, exactly. Opening the doors in your... Aldous Huxley's book, The Doors of Perception. And I said, oh, that's incredible. With the lyrics that you've got, and what I'm going to do with the keyboards and the music, all we got to do is get a great guitar player and a great drummer. And we did find those. John Densmore, a great drummer. Robbie Krieger, a genius, brilliant guitar player. We found those guys. It's going to be psychedelic. That's the kind of music we're going to make. It's going to be psychedelic. No hippies here. My brother Jim on keys. Oh, that's me. UCLA Film School. Oh, look, who's that guy? See that guy moving there in the white shirt? You know who that is. That's Jim Morrison. Check this out. Here's Ray Manzarek and Jim Morrison before they had ever even talked about the Doors. Filmmakers at UCLA. That's it right here. This is where it all took place. This is where Jim Morrison, Ray Manzarek, Dorothy Fujikawa all lived together here. And Dorothy and I lived here, and this is where I made my student movies too. So before Jim came to join us, you know, it's exactly the same color. Nothing has changed. Everything. This is it. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at it right now. What do you say? This is from my student movie, Evergreen. About a jazz guy and his girl. There's his girl in bed, that's Dorothy. Here's the jazz guy, Hank Olgwin, good buddy. There's Dorothy. Isn't that nice? But under here, it's all dark and spooky. You can see how Morrison was inspired here. It's cold under here. This is the kind of place where a man could write a song called The End. This is an area I used to like to hang out in, kind of back. It's up, it's softer. You know, it's all wet down here, but you get back up in here, and it's a lot softer. And he'd sit over there, and that's where he was sitting, right in here somewhere, when he wrote The End. This is the end, beautiful friend. The end of laughter and soft lies. The end of nights we tried to die. And that's for his girl Mary, too. That's for Mary. He wrote the end to her, and then little by little it expanded and became the great song. That was at the London Fog, and we stretched it out. But basically, it was just a short little love song. And this is where he wrote it, right down under here. And we took photos under here. We took Morrison Hotel photos were taken under here. Jim and I used to come down here. So what we used to do is work out on these rings. If you can believe it, Jim and I would go from one end to the other and back again and back again. And then they had this great bar like this, except it was like stretched out. It wasn't on this, it was another thing. I swear it must have gone 45 feet in the air. And Jim would go hand over hand, over hand, over hand, all the way up to the top and all the way back down. I mean, we were Iron Man, man. We were buff. Dorothy's working, supporting us, and we're out here doing all this stuff. So we're in shape. Dorothy's working, supporting us. We're working on songs. There's only one problem. What if the Doors don't make it?
Why do ships with sails love the wind? And will I be thinking of you? Will I ever pass this way again? I'll be returning someday. Until then,
please don't ask me my direction. Let my tracks be buried in the sea. 'Cause to wander's my infection. Till the four winds bring you back to me. Don't count your memories. Think of me as just a dream. Just like this melody I sing.
well, you asked how much I love you. Why do ships with sails love the wind? And will I be thinking of you? Will I ever pass this way again? I'll be returning someday. Until then,
Please don't ask me my direction. Let my tracks be buried in the sea. 'Cause to wander's my infection. Till the four winds bring you back to me.
After all these years, what do these kinds of events mean to you to be part of them? And
Well,
play?
first of all, I don't consider it all these years. I mean, it's just a brief moment in time that seems to have gone by in a snap. That's one of the interesting things about life, is life goes by so quickly and starts to speed up as you get towards the end of it. It just goes faster and faster. And what you should think about is your time in that precious moment, that instant, the Zen moment, here and now. This moment only exists. Well, it's gone. Oh, it's gone again. Where did that snap go? That's gone back somewhere. So you never think about the future. You never think about the past, really. You think about that moment in time when all the energy comes together. Everybody contributing, mirroring what the society was supposed to be. We were supposed to contribute to the society. Everybody putting into America what America could become. And we've fallen flat on our faces. And here we are in the 21st century. And the politics of America, Washington, D.C., the Congress at each other's throats. You know, all I can advise them to do is perhaps smoke a joint together. And they wouldn't dare. They wouldn't dare. They don't have the courage to get high.